Yep. And hopefully this is the start of something. I mean, I like the fact that the new producer said that there's a renewed focus on group content. So, I mean, you have to be tired of hearing about it. I mean, every time they probably go to the forums, every time they look at Facebook or Twitter, it's, you know, we don't have no new raids. Like, that's all they hear about. And then to find out, like, Dungeons and Dragons got 3 of them last year, I'm like, seriously? So
Yeah, that was disappointing.
So Turbine obviously can make that stuff. So, ooh, that was a big fat stack of crits. Every one of those hits was 10k.
Damn.
You know, I don't think anybody's really asking it for it to be on the caliber of Warcraft. I mean, that is unrealistic. You're not gonna release 4 to 5 new raids quarterly. That's just not gonna happen. But I think, you know, 2 a year is feasible. I mean, because that's what people were happy with. That we were happy with Heligrod and the Rift. We were happy with, you know, Dar Narbogud, well, actually having the 2 layer raids in Dar Narbogud. You know, Tower of Orthanc, Ostunhoth. No, Sapiens, I think, as much as I like Rick, I think he was blowing a lot of shit. Because there was another executive, or not an executive producer, but there was another producer that is not even on here anymore that was saying how, oh, there's a hand still, that people just needed to drop the percentage. Because here's the deal. You really have to look at, the player-based percentages in a different way. And what I mean by that is the old school system really kind of provoked this. The old school system was a lock-based system, right? So you had a week to do a raid with a certain character. Say the lock reset on Monday. If the locks reset on Monday and your guild finished it on Monday, what the hell are those guys going to do other than roll alts or go out into the Ettenmoors? You know? So, saying that they're the lowest population of the server, one, they've never actually disclosed how they've gotten those metrics. So, that could be a load of shit. Could just be a way, you know, a way out. Oh, I guess, yeah, I should loot the chest.
Sorry, I forgot it. Because you always do it for us. You know, so, you know, really easy. Well, I'm lazy.
Yeah, I think that's what it really boils down to is you've got that old system, and now that old system is really a thing of the past, and we don't have anything to really test the waters with that was actually of good quality, it's really hard to say, because even Orthanc had its locks and everything like that. So since level 75, we've not had anything that's been lock-based that we could really go off of. I think the problem with Turbine is the fact that they're working on 4 games. They have Lord of the Rings Online. They have Dungeons and Dragons Online. I think Asheron's Call is still... They're doing a specific server of Asheron's Call 2 and Infinite Crisis. So, I mean, for them to have 4 major games like that, for one, their resources can't be low. Otherwise, they'd be just shutting games down.
Guess who?
The Fat Eagle is now following. All right. Thanks for the follow. I think I'll call you Eagle, though. Yeah, Zinger, you bring a good point. I'd appreciate seeing the closer look at the current resources available to the Turbine staff working on this game in order to see exactly what kind of stuff is feasible. You know, it's interesting that the executive producer this time said that they'd like to revisit raids, but Osgiliath was not the place to do it. Notice that didn't leave out Minas Tirith. She just didn't say it's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen in the next 6 months. It just said Osgiliath. The next update is not the place to do it. So that kind of tells me, like, trying to read between the lines, even if there is nothing there, I think that means we're getting some stuff later on this year. They're starting now. I think they've got an executive producer and a community director in place that are geared for PvP and endgame. They're tired of hearing about it, and I think we're going to see it. Let's see. Zinger says, plus other projects, such as the one that Rowan is on. Something mobile he hears. I swear, if they bring out... If it's a mobile game, that I just have a fear that it's going to try to be a goddamn card game like Hearthstone, based around either the Lord of the Rings IP or the Infinite Crisis stuff. Blah. Let's see, Pit Crew. They might also be waiting to see how well the instance cluster goes over. Honestly, I think that's how well they deliver. I don't think it's how well it goes over. I think it's how well they deliver. If we get, you know, 2 3-mans and a 6-man, that's going to just... It's not going to do well. We need a batch like we had in Moria. We need 5 6-mans. This is a stretch goal, trust me. You need 5 6-mans and a couple 3-mans. I mean, because think about this too. Think about what they're doing. They're getting, you know, they're trying to get the player base together. They're trying to move everybody together so that parties can be formed easier, events are more populated. They're trying to make it more of the MMO and not just the RPG again. So I like what I'm seeing. It sucks that it had to take this long and for so many things to happen in a negative way for it to happen. But I think what we're seeing is good. I know people are skeptical of it. I know people are, you know, cautiously optimistic or just flat out don't believe what they're hearing at this point. And they have every reason not to. I mean, look at the past track record. I don't know if you guys are aware of the situation with the forums and the PvP map. That was I almost said it myself. Not promised, but that was pitched, I'll say. You know, it was originally said that at Siege of Mirkwood, we were going to get a new PvP map. I actually have text messages still on my phone from that far back that show me texting people that I PvP'd with saying that we're getting a new map for Siege of Mirkwood. And all the documentation was pulled, and then threads were deleted were anybody mentioning PvP in that. So that's pretty shady. It's in the past. It's a different team at this point. We've got a different executive producer. We've got different producers. We've got a different community director. You know, some of the older devs are gone. We've got different ones in here. So it's all different at this point. So hopefully Athena will light a fire under this and get some cool shit out here. But until we get it out, I think a lot of the forum talk and the speculation, again, that's just my opinion. Anything on my stream is my opinion unless I'm saying it's from a source. I think that people need to kind of chill out because everything is so vague at this point that it doesn't do anything but piss people off when you speculate, and you speculate in a negative light. Let's see here. I should get another instance going here. So you guys are 22, so we can go 27 then. Sure, Chin. So I did say, and I still believe that if LOTRO was able to implement any type of battle zone or PvP or arena type PvP, I would resign from all other games that I play in the MMO genre, and exclusively, as exclusive as I am right now, I would cancel all of my other active subs. I would happily pay double what I'm paying right now. And I know of at least 10 people I could get back into this game right now, in a kin, ready to go, and they would hit PvP very, very hard. And what I'm referring to as far as a battle zone, war zone, battleground, if you've ever played things like Warcraft or Star Wars The Old Republic, those are the two that I've played specifically for PvP purposes. So when I'm talking about those, you're talking about a ranked or unranked type of system that you gain. Well, in the case of WoW, you gain honor and conquest based on if it's ranked or unranked, or rated, I should say now. And that's what gets you your gear, and it's a sense of accomplishment for me. The question is from Kalen Cloud. PvP, is that important to you? Yes it is. I am very competitive. I also like to be competitive in the PvE world, and that sounds a little crazy, but I like server first. I like world first. I like doing things first or better. That's just how I am. That's the nature of my personality. Is if I'm going to do something, I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to be damn good at it. That's just me. I know that's not everybody, and that's fine. Let's see. The battlegrounds could fit the lore so well, especially going into Osgiliath. As good as World PvP is, they really shouldn't focus on it. Absolutely. We're heading into the meat of the War of the Ring. There's going to be battles all over the place. There's, the Bells of Dale that we saw in the Road to Erebor. That is based on the what the hell's the name of that grouping of people? I can't remember. It's not the Corsairs or the Harajim. There's a grouping of, I'm just going to say Angmar. I know that's dead wrong, but that go up to sack Dale, because once again they're trying to get that strategic placement of Erebor. There's that. You have the Scourging of the Shire, which is actually after the War of the Ring. And the way this game is structured, you can mess with time. If you queue into something, you can tell this. Thank you, Easterlings. That's what I was looking for. So you can mess with time. You go into the last homely house right now. You go into Bilbo's room. It's December 24th. Always. You can mess with time. That's the advantage you have of a game. So we could go to the Scourging of the Shire. We could go back up to, the Sacking of Dale. We could go see those things in a PvP environment. We could go back into the past and go to the Battle of the Greenfields. We could do a lot of stuff. It's just, how do we implement that? And on the flip side of that, when I played Star Wars The Old Republic, they had a planet called Ilum that was their open world, their PvP map. You had servers that were PvP oriented, and then you also had theirs were actually called war zones. So they actually had a couple spots from kind of like capture the flag type of deals. There were and I think there's so many things that we could do with systems that are already in place. I think of the example I always throw out there is Trouble at Tuckbrew. Okay, so you have the Freeps that would start where you currently start that instance, and you have the Creeps start at the Great Smeals at the door, because in that story they've already captured the Great Smeals. So and there's already control points. So basically what you do, and that would almost be for people that have played League of Legends, how you kind of start at your opposites, you meet in the middle, you fight, and there's a push and pull back to whoever's base, and you capture and you win. That's how something like that would work, is you're going to capture those points on the way to the middle, you're going to fight in the middle, and then you're going to start to pull back, and somebody's going to eventually win over that. So there's things like that that could work. And I think that, as many new systems as I've seen LOTRO implement over the years, and they've not worked, hell, give it a try. Put one in and see how well it does. Put it up on Bull Roar just to see how people like it. You probably see a crazy spike in the amount of people that hit up Bull Roar. That's for damn sure. Let's see, there's another question here. How would you do creeps with battlegrounds? Like, so new creep doesn't join said battleground and instantly be undergeared, quote unquote.
Yes.
That is something that would be very difficult, and I'm sure that's where the challenge comes from. Because right now, you have no mirror classes, so there isn't something that directly reflects my champion. It's close. I mean, I would kind of put that in the same element with a Reaver. Melee class, you've got your Rens and your Bleeds and your really hard-hitting single target attacks and things like that. So, but the problem is there's no real straight up mixing. So that might have to be a rebuild, and that's probably what's really scary for a lot of people in the development side of things. It's like, okay, if we want to do something like that, 5v5, depending on the builds, that could be a nightmare. But it's about having the best team and things like that, so that's tricky. So Tanuvian just sent me a question here. How lore breaking would it be if there is a dwarf faction PvP against the elves? It wouldn't necessarily be lore breaking. It would be freaking hilarious though, because there is a natural tension between the two. I mean, you obviously don't have dwarves going out and killing elves or vice versa, but there is definitely some tension between the two. Turbine, please just employ Bludborn. I mean, honestly, this is why I wanted to do Players Council. This right here is why I wanted to do it. Because I have ideas, I have a strong voice, and I like to talk. And that might be why I'm not on it. But when I think about this stuff, I just start thinking of what would be, how I would like to play other games that I've played and systems that I enjoyed, and I like to get it here. Warbeast, dwarves and elves have fought in the past. Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And that's what I bring up in what I was talking about before is with this game, you have the ability to mess with time. So that could be something you do. I mean, you know, in Star Wars, you would get a... They would do, if you're... Since the factions were so lopsided, oftentimes when you did Hut Ball, for example, you did... It was light side versus light side. You know, so I don't. That could happen. Let's see, Zinger, if in order to complete all these wishes of yours, they had to return the game to subscription only, do you think this would be justified? I honestly think that's correct with the next statement. I think they would make less money off subscription. I think what you would see is... I think the model that they have right now is perfect for it. Hey, what's up, Clockwork? I think that the hybrid system is perfect for an MMO. Perfect. How it's implemented is where it either succeeds or fails, though. I think LOTRO does a really good job of it because there's not a ton of items out of the store that really augment a character to the point of just I'm so far better than the next person that I think it's in a good spot. Now, if you could start buying weapons and buying armor, no, absolutely wrong. If that gives you a strategic edge over somebody, no. Now, the only drawback are things like Starlit Crystals and Crystals of Remembrance, Legacy tier upgrades, and things like that. But those are things that can be acquired in the game. So it's not something that is just a distinct, if you go here and pay for it, you're automatically, you know, badass or whatever. It's still something that can be accomplished in the game, so you don't have to buy it. But yeah, I think that if the funny thing is, if you go to Twitch right now and you look at the top 5 games, the top 5 games are PvP. I mean, actually, let me see what's up there right now. Let's see, new window, and not Twitch alerts, just Twitch. So we're just going to go to the main Twitch page. And we're going to browse. Okay, so League of Legends, Counter-Strike, H1Z1, Super Smash Brothers, Hearthstone. And in the top 10, you still have Dota, World of Warcraft, or Minecraft up there, but that's just a very, very unique setup. StarCraft. So PvP has the most viewers by far. The top 2 games on Twitch right at the moment, and I don't think there's any tournaments going on right now. League of Legends 76,000, Counter-Strike 57,000. That's a lot of people watching, and you know they all play. So, and also I have some numbers of my own that back that up. So even on my tiny little YouTube channel, that has at this point a whopping 7,700 views. My top 5 videos, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my top 5 videos, the first one that has the most views by a margin of 500 views is the Rift of Nurzgashu, a level 50 raid that I shot, I created this one August 12th. So that one has the most views. Next up is the Ettenmoors. Next up is the Ettenmoors. Then the Dead Marshes New Zone from September. And then another PvP video. So between the 3 Ettenmoors videos and the Rift video, let's see, we're looking at 1,000, 1,600. Probably about a third. Yeah, a third of all of my views are from a raid and PvP. So something to consider there. That's what people are searching. I have the numbers in the search traffic. Like if I actually go into Google Analytics for my videos, I can see what people are searching for and what they're hitting my videos. And a lot of it is LOTRO PvP, LOTRO raids, specific raid names, and Ettenmoors. That's what people are searching for when they're looking at LOTRO. So take that for what it's worth. Let's see what we got here. Lalia Mordor raid boss, please. No, she's going to turn into be another Sarah Oakart. You watch. What is in the Dead Marshes? Not much. That's by design, though. There's not much in the Dead Marshes. It's more story driven than anything. Should have a Sarah Oakart raid boss. Well, good questions there. Got me talking. Got me a little excited there for a minute. Tanubian's over here being quiet.
What? I'm still here.
Let's see. I gotta scroll up here, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Ara's back if you want to invite her to the group.
Could have been a slacker here. Just sat here and talked to her like a half an hour and didn't do a damn thing in game.
Hey, yo, talking is good. We like this stuff.
Oh, do you now? Invite. There we go.
Well, look at the chat and see for yourself. You got everyone else so heated up in the discussion.
Yep. So let's see. No one watches PvE as much. Yes and no. The only reason I'll disagree with you a little bit on that is just on the mere fact that you got to learn how to do stuff, and when going back and watching a video to watch certain mechanics and things like that to learn, there was a guild that I was in Warcraft that you had to sign off that you actually had watched a fight video before you could go into a raid, which at the time seemed absolutely ridiculous to me, but I got over that. That's all right. Actually, she declined.
She might have went AFK again.
Oh, okay. I saw a comment up there. Where was that? Oh, okay, there it was. Personally, I don't think the current skirmishes would work so well, as you need symmetry with battleground maps, so no one side has an edge over the other. Well, War is war. And in real war, there is no symmetry. If you were doing an arena, absolutely. 100% agree with you. If it's a war zone, I think there'd be some disparity there. Just because, you know, if look at the major fights in Middle Earth history. Battle at Helm's Deep. Strategic advantage would be to the invading army, except for the deeping wall. Because they can back out, they can move around. If you're behind the wall, you're stuck. You're stuck in the keep. But there's the advantage of being behind the wall. Being on top of the wall, having an aerial advantage. Yes, I am unfortunately familiar with Alterac Valley. Some of those old ass fights in there that would go on for a long time. But yeah. They had to remove the hill. Yes, they did. But I don't know. It really depends on how it's deployed and how it's done. Because you could have, well, especially the way that the classes are developed right now. Since it's not like you're going to have in WoW, even if you're on Horde or Alliance, you have the same classes, exact same classes. So chances are you're going to have, you know, a shaman and a warrior and a rogue, and you're gonna have all that meeting up. There she is. So, but in this game, by design, we're not gonna have that. You know, if I go up against, I'll go on out in the moors, and my 17k champ is going to go up against a, you know, 50k war or a 90k war leader. I'm just like, there's some stuff that needs to be fixed there, and I don't know what that all looks like. I mean, I'm thinking like big picture up here, and we're talking about a development level code stuff. So, hey, what's up, Aerithart? Let's see here. I agree with you 100%. They should have mirrored classes. Absolutely. You know, because then it's not coming down to... It's coming down to skill then. And group dynamics. And that's where PvP is successful. If you have a huge disparity in classes, it's just never going to work well. Alright, let me get this thing going here. 27. Okay. I thought you said no balance in war. Well, guess it depends on how you want to slice and dice that one. Oops. Yeah, Star Wars did a pretty good job with that. Oh, Aerithart, that's all right though. I mean, disagreeing just brings out better ideas. Oh, you are absolutely welcome to talk opinions on here. That is part of my goal with building this channel, was to get discussion going. That's what I wanted. So you are more than welcome to voice your opinion on my channel, and I actually encourage it. Hell, I might disagree with it, but that's okay. I mean, we're dealing with a game that a lot of people play, so you're going to have differences of opinion. You're going to have things that some people want that others don't. That's just the nature of the game. That's okay. Well, and it might not be that they prefer one thing over the other. It might be that we start to blend them over time so that they're a little bit more on par. Like, you start to add certain things to the bird or take away, and you start to over time get them in line with each other, and that could help, because they are talking about gradual improvements to PvP, and that could be something we look at. I mean, to be fair, you're never gonna have balance. It's just not possible. I mean, if anybody has the opportunity to have it balanced, it's Warcraft, because the classes are identical by design. You're just on a different faction, and that's it. Singer. Yep, Arathart, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, PvP is just one of those weird things that, man, if you nail it and you get it right, you're gonna have so many people playing. And there's other games that really struggle with it. And I think the design of PvP in this game is just naturally going to make things harder on them in the long run. I would agree with that statement. I think creeps need to rework on how they're leveled. I agree with that, but that's not for me to say because I don't even play creeps. I just know that for having freeps have to... I mean, a freep has to go from 0 to starting to cap if they want to play out in the moors. Well, not anymore, because you can go roll out there at 20 and you get scaled, but let's be honest, that's not that great of an experience. I've been out there, you just get fucking dominated. That's just the way that is. But, yeah, I mean, both take a good amount of time. I have thought about that, Arathart. A bunch. I would like to have the perspective of the other side. It's just something that I can't do and commit enough time to be good at it, and I don't like doing things that I can't commit to. Because I'd go have a warg and it just would never go anywhere. So I've deleted tunes and whatnot. But I have thought about that, and I would like to have that perspective. And maybe it's something I'll actually just do a... I'll see if somebody on creep side wants to come have a discussion on stream. I can see if I can get that going. And you know what? I think if I did a round table on stream, one, there's probably a hell of a lot of people watching it and talking about it. So maybe that might be worth doing. The other reason I've never really committed to playing a creep is because of the amount of time and effort that I've had to put into my freep. I didn't want to do all that work and then, oh, now let me go play a creep. That just never really appealed to me. Let's see. Hang on one second. Hidden. Okay. You think. All right, fair enough. All right. Well, so Pidden said, I'd be interested if I knew what the hell I was doing when I log in on a creep apart from just killing slugs. I share that sentiment as well. You log in and there's just quests everywhere, which, you know, I'm familiar with that mechanic. I have 11 characters that are all high level, so I'm familiar with that mechanic. Don't get me wrong. Let's see. But yeah, it's just kind of overwhelming. You log in, go talk to this, go here, go here, go here, go here. And there's so much of it right at first that it's just like, I don't know, I just want to go kill shit. Like, I want to go fight people. Let's see what we got here. Arguments I've heard is that an unranked level 100 creep is about equal strength to a rank 5 creep of equal skill. So the 1 to 100 leveling process for creeps is still just compounded into ranks. The problem is that they become almost unkillable by average creeps at higher ranks. Wombat, the other thing I would say to that is there's a real issue in regards to how ranks are gained at this point. You know, the issue that we run into with ranking now is I can post up in GV, not do a goddamn thing, but be in a group that's out there killing, and I can get rank and comms and buy gear and never have even killed anything. That's a problem. That is a very horrible mechanic. So, you know, when you factor in things like Audacity, you factor in things like virtues, and then on the flip side with creeps and their corruptions and this thing, that thing, the other thing, it's just a mess. It is not in a good place right now. You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'd say if they brought out a newer PvP model and said, this is what we want to do, here's the trade-off. The trade-off is that you have to start over in PvP. If it was a good enough system, I bet you people would be willing to do it. Era, it totally depends on what server you're on. I have been there, and I have knowingly been the example to call people out on it. I've been in a group, gone AFK, actually not like sat there and gone AFK, typed AFK, and flagged myself as AFK, and you know, never got kicked from it, and got a rank. It was like from 4 to 5. So it's not on a character I play at all, so it was more just a test than anything. So, I mean, with that being said, you know, PvP is just in a really weird spot in this game. It's not... It's something I think that can be fixed. And it's something I would like to see fixed. But, I don't know. It's definitely a good topic for discussion. PvP always is something that a lot of people have interest in, even if they just dabble in it a little bit here and there. That's what makes a good community, is things like you have your high-end could you please move? I could. I was just talking, though. Yeah. I know I'm doing a horrible job. Let's see here. We'll set this guy to 28 now. Let's see. Okay, if they did mirror classes, if I level a captain to 100, then I can play a guy as a creep version of the captain. They share ranks, etc. Possibly wouldn't work. Actually, now that I think of it, okay. Fair enough. Oh man, that's good. Oh no! Oh no! Hear yourself, girl. You guys need to get some gear on those tunes. Let's see. So Wombat says, I think they should keep the level cap at 100 permanently. They've already got the potential with the new LI changes. Just keep it at 100 and start going into bug fix balance mode with some raid content releases. Interesting concept. They are keeping it at 100 for at least this year. Don't forget to stop looking at me like that. Yeah. I don't know. Again, a lot of what we're talking about is speculation, probably stuff that isn't even on the roadmap. You know, not the end of the world, but stuff that I would really like to see happen. Yeah, I'm glad to see it's on the radar. Just hope they can do something good with it. I'm really kind of curious what's going to happen with Players Council this year. I really hope to some degree that even though I'm streaming, I hope I'm eligible to do it. But I doubt I am. So, Tanuvian, what else you got going on?
Nothing.
Besides being all quiet and muted over there.
But you want to hear me sneeze into the mic, cough into the mic?
Are you sick?
No, just allergies.
Yeah, I got some of that going on right now too. Let's see here. Yeah, I have written stuff, but it's I don't know. By the time that comes around, yes, they technically do if you're a member of the press. So if you're publishing any type of articles, you're technically not eligible. Now, ultimately, they have the discretion to say who is and isn't. The problem with American Golden Star is that they did like a lot of publications for that stuff. So I wrote an article about myself and my my views on the game, and then what I thought made the yeah, so it's hard to say. I wrote a couple articles that were really just opinion-based things. They weren't like posting on fact or anything like that. So I wasn't reporting on anything. It was just a God. What the hell is the word I'm looking for? I can't think of words tonight. Not even an editorial, I guess. But I don't know. You can read it. You can see what you think. But yeah, I hope not. We'll see. Wombat says, I wish Turbine appreciated how much more active their game was when they had raids like Tower of Orthanc and OD. I don't think they discount how much more active the game was. I think they're trying to attribute that to other things. it's hard for us to get perspective on it when they don't actually release all that information, though. So, like, they've never officially come out and said this game has 1 million players. Okay, well, now it has 500,000 players. Okay, so obviously it's on the decline. So what are we going to attribute that to? You know, we like to speculate on a lot of stuff in our community here. We like to say, well, I know subscribers are down. Could be true, could be false. You know, a lot of people are going to say it is true. You know, we don't have hard factual information that says that the players are down. You know, we all have friends that have left the game. But on the flip side, I've met a lot of new people that I didn't know before. So it's a very cyclical thing. So I don't know. That's, you know, there's a reason why they don't publish that kind of information. And the best answer they've ever had is that it was pretty recent. If you're not WoW, who cares what your numbers are? Because you're not going to have 10 million accounts. It ain't going to happen. You know, all these games that come out and say they're going to be the WoW killer and all that stuff, ain't going to happen. There's been so many games that said they were coming out and it's going to be the WoW killer. Guild Wars was supposed to be it. Star Wars was supposed to be it. Elder Scrolls Online was supposed to be it. Yeah, so it is what it is. You know, if you like the game, play the game. Submit feedback on things you want to see changed or that you like. Let the developers know that they're doing a good job on some things. You know, I'm in that type of business where you hear a lot of the negative stuff. You hear about all the shit and all the crap and like this sucks and whatnot. You know, you hear that. And so when someone actually goes out of their way to tell you that, hey, I like what you're doing, this is good. You know, you don't see those threads on the forums. They're sprinkled in a little bit, but you don't see like dominating threads that say how they like this system or whatever. And so take some time and thank the developers for what they do and the game that they provide us. You know, because me personally, I know I sure as hell wouldn't want to work for a community that is always yelling at me or saying this is not good. You know, how would you feel if you walked into work every day knowing that people were just going to, you know, discount your work and say it sucks? That wouldn't make me want to work any harder. But if people liked it and said, hey, I think what you're doing is great, I think this could make it better, I'm going to work harder because I you know, I'm getting positive feedback. Let's see, Tanuvian, what do you think is the real reason that Turbine is not creating more raids for LOTRO aside from that stupid excuse for the one stop scrolling. Aside from that stupid excuse from someone that said raid players only make up 10% of the lower population. My ass. Will never be, blah, blah. So entire Turbine Studios multiplexing the entire population. All right, Arathard. But to answer Tanuvian's question, what do you think the real reason that Turbine are not creating new raids? I don't know. You know, for a long time I thought it was just like budget and resources and stuff like that. And then I saw the DDO producer's letter that said they had 3 new raids last year, and that just kind of threw that out the window. I look at it as, I think they have a smaller team. They have 4 major games that they're working on, and I guess I just don't have enough people. But I don't know. I don't like the line that says we're only going to create content in game spaces that work. So basically, if a raid or a 6-man fits into the story at that given point is where they're going to put that in. That is a line of BS, in my opinion. You're telling me in that all the Moria instances, it made sense to have them based on the story. No. The whole Iron Garrison is made up to complement this game. The Iron Garrison did not exist. So, you know, that whole story was made up. And so, in the fact that it was made up, paved the way for instances. So, you know, you have leeway within this IP to create content. You have some creative freedom within this IP to do some things. Raids cost money. If they don't think they'll have a decent profit, then they'll probably won't do it. To be perfectly honest, they make so much money off of microtransactions. I remember when free-to-play came out, they actually did publish some numbers on it. It was a really small amount, but it was basically that their profits had doubled and their player base had grown by 400%. So, good night, Arithart. Thanks for the host. I do appreciate it. I see when you do that. I do appreciate that quite a bit. Let's see here. Is LOTRO not as popular as DDO? I think it's hard to keep comparing DDO thing. It's a much more group-focused title than LOTRO. So I'd imagine dungeons are a big focus in that title. I think we're grasping for straws there, man. I think when you look at it, Dungeons and Dragons versus Lord of the Rings Online, there's so many battles and groups of people going up against groups of people in Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's the War of the Ring. You know, there's all these people vying for power. There's all these people trying to get the rings of power. You know, you have so many different races going at it with, or not races, but I guess not races, I want to say. I guess it would be ethnicities, I guess. But like with the Harajim, the Corsairs, Easterlings, the Angmarim, you got orcs, all that stuff. I don't know. Pidden says, to be fair, it's an MMO. It should be both of them that are focused around group content. You know, I think a lot of people share that sentiment, but it's also an RPG. So there needs to be some story and things like that. I think that's the problem, is that Turbine has 3 MMOs that they're working on. Technically 4 if you count Asheron's Call too. So I think that's just always going to be a struggle for them. I think that's maybe why WoW's so successful, is because they have a game in certain genres. They have a MOBA. They have a MMO. They have a RTS game. They have a card game. They don't have 4 games competing in the same genre, or 3 games competing in the same genre. You're taking I don't know if they could take all of the resources that they have that they're putting into all 3 of their MMOs. I mean, we'd probably have something spectacular. Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. That's fair. Uh, 23, 28, 24, 23, so 28 again. 29, 26, 27. Let's do 27. These guys are going to start kicking my butt in here if I don't do something. I'll let you guys get up there. Well, so Zinger says, perhaps there are some rules as to the extent of the creative liberties Turbine can take with the IP, so Turbine cannot always do, cannot always do what is needed. Conflicts with those restrictions. The liberties were taken a lot earlier in the dev cycle of the game. Yeah, they certainly were. Foreshell, Moria with the Iron Garrison, the whole thing with Foreshells. There's not even much written in lore. Now, I will say that Warner Brothers only owns the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. That also being said, within the Lord of the Rings, you have the appendices, which they do have that ability to do. Pitcrow. LOTRO didn't used to present the content as so much solo, though, so they could change it and feel like they would have if they noticed enough of a negative impact of focusing on solo. I personally want a nice balance, but at the end of the day, it's their call. But yeah, DDO does seem to be more group focused, and that's how it's designed and has been historically. Plus dungeons is in the name, so it only makes sense to make a lot of dungeons. It's very true. Lord of the Rings has one of the most prolific dungeons in written history and written lore, or you know, novels and shit. So I don't know. I think there were some expectations set back in the day when this game had good group content, and people are still clinging to it, myself included, and we want to see it back. You know, I don't see anything wrong with that. I pay to play the game. I have always paid to play the game. So I looked at a very sad number today that showed that I had spent $1,300 in subscription fees over my time playing this game, on top of vent servers and TeamSpeak servers and well, now my XSplit license and all that stuff. I mean, I've spent thousands of dollars being able to play this game. So and website costs for hosting guild sites. I did that for a couple years. So there's some stuff like that. Turbine did not give up the rights. It's Warner Brothers that owns those rights, and Warner Brothers owns the rights to The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Turbine doesn't actually hold
Yes,
any of the
sir.
rights. Since they are a studio within a parent company, the parent company holds the rights to those. I've spent $19.99 on LOTRO, so there. Zinger, I actually don't know the answer to that. I've never actually paid attention to it. Well, that just sounds messy and stupid, and I really don't like the Tolkien estate for that. The interesting thing about that, though, is that there's so many references within the body of text for Lord of the Rings that makes reference to things that happen in The Hobbit, and there's so much in the appendices that happen in The Hobbit and other time frames that there's it just seems like there's so much wiggle room. Be a pal, Chris. Chris basically hates anything that is not his work or his dad's work. He despises the movies. Probably doesn't like any of the games either. I mean, he's 93, so probably never even played a game.